All right, y'all. Another round of the graded card reveals. Got 4 boxes left. Little one, 2 of the big PSA boxes, and then the CSG box. So CSG is number 4, and the little one is number 1. Gonna do the random number generator. Got number 3. So all right, box number 3 it is. Move this stuff out of the way. Awesome. Cool. All right, box number 3. So there's a lot of cards in here. We'll see which cards they are. Cool. All right, we'll start on this side. I'm glad we picked this box. This is probably the one I was looking forward to doing most. Start out with a couple of the lower grade cards, but still 2 pretty cool ones. That is the 1928 Bradman rookie. You'll probably see a very big crease across the top. It's actually a very nice card other than that, but it's a massive flaw, obviously. It goes right through the card. I was expecting a 1, maybe a 1.5, so I got a 1.5 on this. Without that, it would probably be a 4 or 5. So, presents well other than that, but it's a massive flaw, as I mentioned. And then speaking of low grades, another one of the Bradman rookies. This is the Wills, and this one is in a 1, and a well-deserved 1. Creasing on the front, and then the back is, where definitely, I knew it had no shot at anything more than a 1 because there's paper loss. But anyway, Bradman rookies, happy to have them. And that's the start of what I expect to be a lot of Bradman here. So let's get to it. In the last video, I showed some cards from this set. This is the 1978 Sporting Aces. There is a Bradman card in here, and I got a 9 on that. Pretty happy with that. That's definitely my most recent Bradman card that I got graded. My second most recent is a 1953. This is actually a pretty sought-after set. It's the Morning Foods Morn Flake Oats, and I got a 7 on that one. I actually wouldn't have been surprised if that was a little bit better than a 7, but I think the centering is probably the main thing that kept it down. Really, really sharp card. Next up, the 1938 Ogdens. Really nice card. My friend Kirby, John, really loves this card. Was happy to get a 6 on that, and even happier, the other copy I sent in got a 7. So I should probably mention, a lot of the cards I'm going to show here, apart from those rookie cards, a lot of them are fairly easy to find. Not super, super difficult cards, not super, super expensive cards. But the key on these is most of these I thought were in really exceptional condition. So I thought that they were worth getting graded. Along the lines of that, this is the 1938 John Players. There is a 1938 John Players, a 1934, and a 1930 Bradman. This is the 38, and that's a really sharp copy. Got a 6 on that. A 6 might not sound that good, but you're talking about a card, in this case, that's 85 years old, that gets an excellent near mint grade. And this one looks really sharp to the eye. Happy with the 6th grade. The next one also looks really nice. This is a 5. And then I sent in a 3rd copy here that got another 6. You'll see a few of these I sent in multiple copies, really just for the reason I mentioned. More common card, but really rare to find these in high grade. Because this was a fairly common set, you actually don't see a ton of these that are like really sharp. So these are the best 3 of these that I had seen to that point. And I tracked down as many as I could find, so was happy to send those in and get decent grades on them. Next up is the start of some photo cards. So these are bigger cards. These are from Ardath. And this one is marked as 1938. Let's see, there you go. I really love these cards. I mean, these are like really sharp original photos. And I'll just give you a little preview. I think in general, these graded a little bit lower than I would have expected. And my guess is that that's probably because these photo cards have a bit of likelihood of getting a little bit more scratch than a normal card because they are old photos. But that one got a 5, which I was really happy with. You know, that's a good grade. This one actually got an even better grade. This is a 6 for the 1936 photo cards. And this is the Z. You see the Z down there. So this is the Z series. I actually sent in 3 of those, and I got that 6, and I got 2 4s. So, you know, not too bad. Pretty happy with those. But again, the 4s, you know, I think they look better than 4s. So again, I'm guessing that there was maybe some kind of like light scratching or something. But, you know, a 4, even that, you know, you're talking a very good, excellent copy of a card from almost 90 years ago, so can't complain. He had another card from the this is listed as 1936. I think this is actually earlier. It's the 1934 test team, and that's Bradman. You know, you've got a number of stars in that set. You've got O'Reilly, who's in the Hall of Fame, McCabe, who's in the Hall of Fame, Grimmett, who's in the Hall of Fame, Ponsford, who should be in the Hall of Fame, and then obviously Bradman, who's sitting in the front there. So I really like that card. Figured I'd send my nicest one in to get graded and got a 4 on it. All right, now moving on. This is the Ardath 1935. And this is the Sports Champions. Got a 6.5 on that. Really nice grade. So happy with that one. Moving on to Gallagher's. So I actually sent 4 of this card in. This is the 1935 Gallagher's Champion. Fairly common release. You'll see these around. You can find the set relatively inexpensive. And you know, some of these just look absolutely super sharp. So this one got a 6. The next one got a 7, which I was really happy with. Got another 6. Like I mentioned, I sent 4 of these in. And then this was one of my happiest moments of this order, was seeing that grade on that card. Yeah, to my eyeball, I think I even mentioned this on a video earlier when I showed this card when it was raw. Pretty much the most perfect looking vintage card I'd ever seen. And this is 88 years old. You can see the back is a little, definitely off center. It's like the back's off center, but the front is just absolutely rock solid sharp, and got an 8 on it. So my guess is actually if the back was centered, this might have gotten a 9. But yeah, just a really, really brilliant card. I will not be selling that. That's staying in my personal collection. Happy to have that one slabbed. Another set that I just really, really love, and I did a video on this set earlier. This is the 1935 Carreras Oval ones. These are the popular personalities. So this set had, you know, Stanley Matthews in it. There's a famous soccer player. It also had Queen Elizabeth's first card when she was a little girl. It had the rest of the royal family. A bunch of really, really cool subjects. So that's a 4, but I got the miscut designation because the back was so off. But, you know, the front is really brilliant. And I actually think this probably should have gotten higher than a 4, especially with the miscut designation, but that's all good. I sent in a second one that got a 5, which, again, I would have thought probably should have gotten a 6, 7. But, you know, happy enough with a 5. That's fun. Back to the John Players. I sent in 3 of the 1934 set. Very happy with the 7. You know, near mint. For now, we're talking about an 89-year-old card. So I got a 7, and I got a 5, which, to be honest, like on most of these, I'm not an expert at rating cards that are this old. I would have thought 5s or 6s on most of these, so getting a 7 was amazing. And bam, an 8. So I think this is either the first or one of the first cards in this set that's graded an 8. Obviously couldn't have expected that going in. You know, I'm pretty conservative with my guesses. But yeah, getting an 8 on a Bradman from 1934. So 2 8s. You know, you saw the Gallagher's as well. So very, very pleased with that. Next up is the 1932 Godfrey Phillips Gray Cigarettes. Got a 2.5 on that, which is a fair grade. I was thinking somewhere in the 3 range, so 2.5 is fine. It has very, very rounded corners, but otherwise a really sharp image, and I thought it presented really well. Back to the John Players. This is now the 1930s set, so now you're talking 93 years old. And I've mentioned earlier, this is a common set. It's not that expensive to pick up the whole set. For a beginning collector, this is one of the first ones I would suggest searching out because you've got one of Bradman's earliest cards. You've got a lot of other Hall of Famers. There's a nice Hobbs card in this set. Stan McCabe rookie, right? So you've got some really significant cards. And if you look around enough, you can get this card, the whole set, in fairly decent shape for a pretty good price. So I would suggest that if you're looking to get into cricket and not looking to kind of jump straight into the higher end stuff, like having a second or third year Bradman and a bunch of other Hall of Famers is to me a pretty good value proposition. So the 3 of those I sent in, or the 2 of those I sent in, I got a 5 and a 6. So pretty happy with that. All right, moving on. Next up is Sir Leonard Hutton. So one of the greatest batters of all time, knighted, right, for his cricketing abilities, so you know he's good. This is a really good example of one that one of these photo cards that, man, I can't believe this got a 3. And like I said, there's usually a really good reason for it. So I'm not saying that PSA made a mistake by any means. But apart from the centering, which is a little off, like this is a really, really, really sharp card. White, sharp corners, nice edges. The back is even white. These are usually a little bit browned or stained. But only got a 3 on that. All good. You know, one of Hutton's, I would say, slightly more rare rookies. You know, he's got a couple that are more common. You know, here's one that I think is really nice from the Ogden set. I showed the Bradman earlier from this set, the 1938. This is one of Hutton's rookies. And Hutton's considered, you know, one of the top 10-ish batters of all time and really dominated his era. If you look at his stats, he was the #1 ranked batter for like 10 plus years in the world. And that's in an era that was just kind of, Bradman's era was kind of coming to a little bit of a close as Hutton was really picking up steam. And he did that despite having suffered an injury while serving in World War II. So really inspiring story. He probably wasn't supposed to be as great as he was, and he just kept fighting and just went down as one of the all-time greats. So that's one of his rookies. This is the most common rookie, the John Players rookie, but that's in a 7. So that's very uncommon grade for that set. And then the other rookie I have, I showed a Dennis Compton rookie the other video of this set, Allen's. The other one was the Allen's Cutie Drops. This one is the Irish Moss. So that's Hutton's rookie. So Hutton and Compton are rookies in the 1938 set. Both really significant players in England's history, 2 of England's best of all time. This one's another sharp one. There's a little bit of off coloring here at the bottom, which is why I guess that they dropped it down to a 3. The Compton got a 5. So I was happy enough with that. And then this is a second year card, but I just thought this was super sharp. Loved the image. 1939 Hutton, and this is the R&J Hill, which most of the R&J Hill issues are a little bit more scarce, a little bit more expensive. But that is a really nice 5, one of the nicer 5s you'll see. Cool. All right. So now moving on, a few other Hall of Fame rookies here. Speaking of great English batters, Herbert Sutcliffe was one of the absolute greatest batters of all time. One of the only batters in history that averaged 60 runs in test matches. This is his double rookie, which is really cool because he got another Hall of Famer, Wilf Rhodes, on it. Not Rhodes' rookie, but just a cool card. This is 1922, and I got a very good, excellent 4 on that. 2 Wally Hammond rookies. 2 of the more rare ones. This is the DC Thompson Rover, which I have a few copies of this. This was by far my best. I got a 4 on it. Was a little disappointed, but overall, not too disappointed. I think it's a fair grade. And then a more rare card, the Patro, in a 6. So was really pleased with that. Like if I had to pick one to grade high, it would have been that. And it was a really sharp card, but you just never know. It's a little bit of a crapshoot. So getting that in a 6, that's going to be my personal collection, obviously. Hammond's one of my favorite guys to collect. Really, Hammond, Larwood, Sutcliffe, Hobbs, like some of the greatest English batters of all time, some of the greatest batters of all time. And in my mind, like just grossly undervalued. I love being able to pick up early issues of all those guys for what feels like penny on a dollar, compared to the major sports, but also compared to guys like, you know, Bradman and Grace and the other guys that have gotten some hobby love. So definitely recommend picking some of those up. So speaking of Hobbs, his 1936 Gallaghers is another one that you can find in pretty high grade. So I sent 3 of those in. I got a 6, another 6, and an 8. So the 6s were about what I expected. The 8 was a nice surprise. I can't remember exactly, but I think this might be the only 8 or one of the only 8s of this card that the PSA's ever graded. So I was really happy to get that one. Another high grade Hobbs. This is the Ardath set, a very similar one to the Bradman I showed earlier that I got 6.5 on. This Hobbs got a 7, which is really brilliant card. I mean, the artwork is just super sharp and looks like it could have just been pulled from a pack really recently. 1934 John Players, again, same set as I showed the Bradman earlier. Got a 6, and the second one I sent in got an 8. So, you know, I've done poorly with PSA in the past, but man, it's just really hard to be upset with an order where you're getting back 8s of cards from basically 90 years ago. A little bit more rare Hobbs card. This is the 1923 R&J Hill. I really thought that this had a shot at grading a 7+. Got a 5 on it. You know, unbelievably sharp corners. Really nice picture. My guess is like there's a little tiny bit of discoloration like on the edge here. Maybe that's what dropped it down to a 5, but happy to get it slabbed up. You know, it's a fine grade. This is the Godfrey Phillips, the Panache. This one got a 4. Again, would have thought it would be a little bit higher, but these photo cards in general graded a little bit lower than I thought that they would. Here's the 1908. So this is the Hobbs second year. This is the 1908 Wills. Got that in a 2, which was a fine grade. You know, I don't think it deserved any higher than a 3, so 2 is fine. And then I've got 2 left here, 2 to finish it off. And I sent in 2 cards from the 1907 set, which is really, these cards are 2 of my favorite cards in my whole collection. And this is his second issue in the set, which they've marked as a 1908. Same deal as when I showed the Barnes rookies. Like, I don't know why they marked this as a 1908. I tried to kind of contest it, but they kept it as 1908. It's all good. That one got a 2. But, you know, his true rookie, the only kind of undisputed 1907, I got a 4 on. So, I mean, I couldn't be more thrilled with that. 116 years old and got a 4 on it. One of my favorite cards in my collection, so definitely won't be getting rid of that anytime soon. That's going to stay with me for the long term. So hope you liked that video. A lot of Bradman, a good bit of Hobbs, and some of the other greats mixed in as well. I'll be honest, of all the kind of boxes that I put together, waiting to make videos, I think that was my favorite one. Bradman and Hobbs are two guys that I've really focused on my collection, and some of the other guys I showed as well. Just really love learning their stories, and their greatness is really unparalleled. So hope you enjoyed that, and see you next time.